The Belize Police Department is in the throes of a public relations debacle, a situation that is not necessarily unique to law enforcement. Since the beginning of the year, several officers have been arraigned for their alleged involvement in narco-trafficking activities. Assistant Commissioner of Police Marco Vidal may not have been part of a circle of rogue cops who facilitated the landing of drug planes in Belize over the past 12 months. However, he is on administrative leave tonight for managerial shortcomings that may have enabled his men to aid and abet the movement of cocaine through the country.
While yes, there is a move to suspend, it will be based on administrative failures. The investigations so far have not unearthed anything to suggest that Mr. Vidal was involved or in cahoots with those persons. But yes, we have seen where, as the commander of operations and the person was in charge of the CAS team, that he could have done certain things to prevent what happened, and he did not. So administratively, he will be held accountable for those.
And so will a handful of policemen who stand accused of participating in drug transshipment through Belize. In retrospect, 2021 has seen a marked number of officers being placed on interdiction after being charged for their purported role in narco-trafficking.
I don't think that we have ever shied away from that. If a matter of fact, over the past few weeks, we have charged a number of police officers for trafficking large amount of drugs, just that in those cases, it was marijuana. But we know that there are police officers and members of BDF and Coast Guard who are involved in drug trafficking. And the public can see that once it is that these officers manifest themselves, we deal with them. We are not here to cover for nobody. You want to go and deal with drugs, you're caught, you will face the consequence of it no matter where you work and no matter who you are. It's simply as that.
On the contrary, it has proven seemingly difficult to stick charges on these lawmen. Many of them, including the so-called Narco 11, 4 of whom are officers attached to ACP Vidal's handpicked strike team, are represented by a preeminent criminal lawyer. Dickie Bradley is Elmer Na's counsel.
Corporal Elmer Na was stopped in the area of the Independence Police Station, I think on the highway, returning from Punta Gorda, where there was a christening or an event, a family event, for which there are dozens of witnesses. He was with his common law wife, and his common law wife was along with her brother, who is the other police officer that I was referring to. They were stopped. This is 2 days after the plane had landed and offloaded.
With a winning streak that has seen several officers acquitted of the charges brought against them, Bradley is no slouch when it comes to defending these accused policemen. Earlier this year, back in February, Minister of Home Affairs Karim Musa spoke on the arraignment and likely conviction of several officers who were busted in the vicinity of New River near Lemonal village.
Previously, while we had our suspicions and we gathered evidence, and I'm talking under the last administration in relation to drug plane landing, it was never so clear-cut. It might be that you found an officer in a particular area and they were saying that they were fishing and they had their fishing lines to prove it and no drugs were found on them. And so it depends on a case-by-case basis. But I fully agree with you that in this particular case, we should see convictions because in this case, the drugs were found in the possession. It's very rare that you actually get a bust like that.
Fast forward to November 30th, when 6 men, including a policeman, were busted in Mountain Pine Ridge for purportedly landing a single-engine aircraft stuffed to the gills with cocaine. He too is represented by a well-known attorney.
I can share with you that nothing incriminating in terms of what my clients were charged with. They were charged under Section 30 of the Civil Aviation Act, that they conspired with others to land a plane. There is no evidence whatsoever in the police possession that I saw that would suggest that they were involved in the landing of any plane. Nevertheless, they were charged.
These criminal matters involving at least 12 policemen are still before the court pending an outcome. We note, however, that a tribunal has also been convened to try these cases outside of the judicial system to determine whether the accused officers will remain in the police department. Reporting for News 5, I am Isana Cayetano.